Welcome to Romance Happy Hour. I'm Dylann Crush, and I'm here with Dawn Luedecke. And tonight we have our featured romance authors, Livy Hart and Sariah Wilson. So welcome to both of you. Thanks for being with us this evening.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Absolutely. We're very happy to have you. So, Dawn, you were not here last time. You had a family thing.
I did, and I apologize. I was planning on doing it up there, but by the time we got up there was no internet. And so I had to run down to town to message you, and I was in a panic, and I was like, oh my God, Dylan's going to hate me. She's going to be like, where the hell is Dawn? I'm so sorry, but I got allowed it. Last minute, I am so sorry. Yeah, it was my dad's 70th birthday.
No, it was fine. It was just, that was the week from...
Oh gosh,
it was an awful week for me too. Because it was busy. This summer has just been I was saying it's a summer of disruptive chaos. Every plan that I have made this summer, I feel like, has gone awry in some way, shape, or form. So
yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, not as much as you. Holy cow, you had quite the experience that week. Mine is just more like go, 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 don't stop. But yeah, you, on the other hand, I felt bad for you when you were talking the other day.
No, it's fine. It's fine. For those of you who don't know, I had to back out of a signing that weekend. I was supposed to go to Riders on the River, and I had to back out because my daughter ended up in the ER with stomach pain and everything. And she's fine. She's totally fine. We're still trying to figure out what's going on. But yeah, so Dawn was telling me she couldn't come, and I was like, just, like leaving the hospital.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. And you didn't tell me that then.
Well, no, because you didn't even have internet. So it all worked out fine. It's all fine. Everything's fine. But yeah, it's just been a very eventful summer. I don't know, Libby and Sariah, have you had a very eventful summer too? I don't know if it's like, I don't know, the moon, or there's like some woo-woo energy out there that's just, it's been wild.
My children have had a wild summer, and they're trying to make it wild for me as well. I have two little boys, so every day feels like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go to the pool a lot to try to keep them sedated, right?
See, I have two teenagers still at home, and they make their own kind of wild, crazy summer. So.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yes.
I got a combination. I got one teenage left at home and two younger boys. My teenage is a daughter, so luckily she can watch them for me. So
excellent.
I can go to work. So Dylann, what are you working on?
I am working on, I have a story due on Monday for, I don't know if viewers remember, like every year, this will be the 4th year in a row. We did the charity anthology, holiday anthology. So the first year it was Jingle Balls, and then it was Tinsel and Tatas, and then last year was Holiday Heart On. And this year we will be doing a cover reveal next week, but it's 4th year in a row. And so stories are due on Monday.
Does the cover reveal mean you can't tell us what charity it's for?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, no, it's not a body part this time. I'll give you that.
Okay.
So yeah, historically we've done body parts. It's not a body part this time. It's
interesting. Is it human though, or is it a different species?
I can't say.
It's animals. I'm calling it.
Or is it for the aliens? Now that we know that the aliens are real,
it's they're rom-coms. They're not paranormal, or monster rom-coms. So,
woohoo! Okay, I'm calling it now. We'll see if I'm right. What, next week, right? Okay. The cover reveal.
Yeah,
we'll see if I'm right next week. I'm calling it animals.
Okay.
And there's probably going to be lots of dogs.
We'll see.
That's my other. Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, I'm just so confident right now. I'm a little cocky.
I'm glad you're feeling confident, Dawn.
Okay, sweet. I'm really excited about this. I hope I'm right.
I'm gonna accidentally get you to spoil it, so you gotta be careful. She's gonna
no, I can't tell Dawn any secrets because Dawn always gives up the secrets every single time.
Yeah, I do.
Every time.
I do. On accident. I blame it on my hair color. So Yeah.
So yeah, so besides that, so we're working on that. So that'll be announced super soon, and that will come out in October. Beyond that, I am working on the next book in the Whiskey War series. And then just wrapped up another Kickstarter for the Mountain Men of Mustang Mountain. And the next book in that series, that's a shared series I do with Casey Rose and Eve London. And so the next book in that series is one from Casey, and that one comes out at the beginning of August. So, yep, never a shortage of things going on.
I was going to say multiple projects at once. That is true peak form.
Yep.
Yeah, she's busy.
But next week I am going to Rockin' Romance Readers in Knoxville. So I fly out on Thursday, and that's a signing that is in Knoxville next weekend. So next Saturday I'll be there, and then I get to go on a writing retreat after that with some steamy short writers. Not short writers, but writers of steamy shorts. Some of them may be short. I am short, so they may be short writers of shorts. We'll see.
I feel like you're taller than me, though. I
mean,
feel
it's
like
been a while since we have been together, Dawn, but I would think it hasn't been that long.
I think you're taller than me.
Really?
Yeah.
How tall are you?
5'4.5". That half is important.
Yeah. No, you've got me by a full inch. I am 5'3.5".
Oh, dang it. Oh, I thought you were taller. I could have swore. Maybe it's your personality.
What is that? Like one of those like backhanded compliments?
No, not backhanded compliments. You're like we have this conversation about you being extroverted and like your extroverted personality.
Okay.
It wasn't backhanded at all. I love you to death.
Okay.
All right. For sure.
What have you been up to, Dawn?
I know. Well, I've actually been writing. I'm very excited about that. Yeah. I am working on my well, I don't have the actual title right now, but it's a firefighter book. And then my agent, I have a meeting with her tomorrow because she wants an American historical. So I'm going to do some American historical rom-com.
Okay.
And
I love your American historicals. I really do.
So I can't wait. I'm just trying to push past this firefighter book so I can get to the rom-com because I'm very excited to the historical. Good. I love historical. That's my jam. That's where I like to be. But and other than that, so this probably isn't going to pan out, but I'm totally going to tell you all because I love it so much. I just got invited today. Most of you know, well, our regular viewers, that I also do real estate, right? In Montana. I got invited to try out for The American Dream. It's like a television show. And so they selected just a handful of agents in Montana to come and try out to host an episode. So
very cool.
I know. I found that out today. It's not gonna happen for me because I'm like super excited about it, and I'm like, I totally want this. But yeah, we'll see. Well, I'm gonna try
like that, Dawn.
No, I don't have that attitude. My attitude is I'm totally gonna try, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna suck up all your extroverted energy into the interviews.
Have it.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call you first and be like, Dylan, go to my interview, and you can be like, here's some mojo.
All right. Sounds good. Well, good luck. You'll have to keep us posted on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And we've got Livy Hart and Sariah Wilson with us tonight. Livy, you want to tell us a little bit about what you write and where you're from and whatever else you feel comfortable sharing?
For sure. Hi, I'm Livy. I write contemporary rom-coms. I recently came out with Planes, Trains, and All the Feels. That was my summer release. And then I wrote a book prior to that, Talk Flirty to Me, which was my debut, which was also a firefighter book, Dawn. So I have a special place in my heart for firefighters. And I keep trying to put firefighters in all my books. And strangely, they're just not on board for that. So I have to think of other jobs. But so I live in Dallas, Texas, and I'm originally from Florida. So I'm an East Coast girl, but figuring out how to thrive in Texas.
Well, you're staying south. So
it's true. It's
true.
Yeah. All right. And how about you, Sariah?
I'm Sariah Wilson. I write sweet romantic comedies. Gosh, I think I've written like, I had to count the other day. I think I'm like on my 21st book.
Nice.
It's been a while, but yeah, my latest is the Hollywood Jinx that just came out like 3 days ago. I totally like forgot this book was coming out. It very much crept up on me. And yeah, I'm living in Utah. I'm married. I've got 4 kids. I just became a grandma last year for the first time, which is very, very cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, and I'm actually right now, I'm working on an NA fantasy, and it's so out of my wheelhouse. But I'm having a complete blast. I don't even know if anybody's going to buy it. I'm just writing it and we'll see what happens, but
those are the
I'm having
funnest.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So I noticed that your titles, both of your book titles, are super fun and kind of give away a lot of the feel of the books. And I love that so much. They kind of both feel like really fun books. So kudos on the titles.
Thank you.
And they both have really super cute covers too. So if you look those up, they both have well, the one is the planes and everything. It's like the arrows and the text and everything. And then
cute.
Yes. As I'm trying to describe it from memory. Yeah. That was much better. And then I was going to say, and then the Hollywood Jinx one has like the swirling words and everything down at the bottom, and it looks very goldish. So yeah, both very fun. So which and you're both traditionally published, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So which is super interesting because I mean we see so many covers and everything of different people that are authors that are coming on. But yeah, it's just the trad books are more like the object covers or the the text covers right now. So it's just kind of reinforcing that's still very, very popular in the traditionally published books. So very on point, unless you're writing cowboy books.
Yeah.
That's very true. Those have their own genre with their own covers for sure.
Yeah, you have to have a cowboy in the genre and in the cover. I mean, there's no other option for those ones.
No. So yeah, because my cowboy book that came out this summer, it's got to be a cowboy on the cowboy on the cover. So
a cowboy on the cowboy. Oh, that's a different.
That's not what I meant to say. Yeah, that's a different genre.
Way different genre.
It is a different genre or a different subgenre.
Yeah.
All right. I know. I'm like tongue-tied tonight. I don't know what it is. I think it's because I had a cupcake.
Oh, yummy.
I think that's what it is. I had too much sugar before we came on here. I'm tongue-tied. All right. Well, we are going to get into the reading. Livy has volunteered to go first, and I'm assuming you were reading from the book that you just showed us.
Yes, I'm reading from Planes, Trains, and All the Feels.
Okay. And are you starting us off with chapter 1, or do we need any kind of a setup?
Yes, I'll give a little bit of setup. I'm going to skip ahead to chapter 5 for my reading because it is a disastrous meet cute in the first chapter in an airport. And then my 2 main characters are in the air and then they are grounded. Their flight is grounded. So it's loosely based on Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. If you're familiar with the movie, which is iconic, and I can't dare do it justice, but I tried. So yeah, once these 2 characters who do not get off on the right foot have their plane grounded, they're both trapped in a very small airport in Joplin, Missouri. So that's where I'm picking up. So it's nighttime. They're very sad, and they don't know when they're ever going to escape this place. So,
okay, can I just ask before we start? I know I'm already prefacing, going early on the questions, but is there also trains and automobiles in the book?
Yes,
and it was a road trip.
It is a road trip book in the sense that they are, that's the trope, but it starts with an airplane, segues into cars, segues into trains, and then back to cars. So I definitely wanted to make sure we got all 3 forms of transportation to do it justice. And they're all.
I love that.
Thank you. Yes, they're all chaotic though, so
nice.
That's also keeping with the theme.
Yes, and the rom-com aspect. Mm-hmm. So, all right, I can't wait to hear this. Here we go. We're going to put you up there, and then we will be back when you're done.
All right. Thank you. All right. And just to say, this is a dual point of view, but we're in the heroine's point of view. All right. I jolt upright and whip my head left and right. Recognition of my surroundings dawns as my sleepy brain flickers to life. Airport. Yes. The lights are dim but not out, like a theater just before a show. And here I was hoping the plane diversion was a dream. My attention falls to a foreign bundle of gray fabric in my lap. A tired squeak leaves my mouth as I shove it off my legs. What the heck? With a pincer grip, I pluck it off the ground. It has a hood, but no drawstring. The cotton is threadbare and faded. A quick peek inside reveals the tag is missing. This is the baby blanket of sweatshirts worn to death. I lift my chin and search the area. Of the 100 or so people camping in this gate, there's only one I could pick out of a lineup. And that is the last thing Mr. Is this your first time being right would do, is offer me a sweatshirt. His dislike of me is so intense, he chose to argue with me instead of conceding that I was right about the hotel situation, even after we'd achieved a mutual understanding and respect as our plane landed, or so I thought. That's what I get for attempting to turn over a friendlier leaf. I get Luke sass, a glimpse at his ego. I bet if I told him the airport was on fire, he'd have to Google it to be abundantly sure rather than just trusting my assessment. You know what? So what if he doesn't like me? I didn't like him first. I've got squatter's rights on this grudge. And yet, I have a sweatshirt in my clammy hands. I spot Luke and his tousled shock of hair across the walkway. It appears he's ransacked it with his hand a time too many. Even the waspish amongst us are susceptible to the harrowing realities of an all-nighter, I guess. He's putting the lap in laptop as he pecks away at the machine perched on his thighs. His glasses reflect the glow of the screen. I could ask him. But if it isn't his sweatshirt and belongs to a random Good Samaritan who saw I was uncovered, or a random person who intended to smother me in my sleep and failed, I would be mortified. Playing The Sims until the airline provides an update is safer. My phone lights up at my touch. 5:20 a.m. The drain battery icon winks at me. I scan for an open outlet. Too many people have fallen asleep body blocking their charging phones. All plugs are taken except for the top half of one. The bottom half has been claimed by Luke. This ought to be fun. I gather my stuff, cross the crowded space, and approach with my chin lifted and the sweatshirt tucked under my arm. Can I use the top half of that outlet? He looks at me for approximately half a second before returning his gaze to his keyboard. Sure. I'm reveling in the ease of this interaction when he adds, I don't own it. Could have just left it at yes, I mumble as I dig my charger out of the front pocket of my suitcase and plug myself in. Muscles tight from the plane and sleeping upright, I extend my legs. I've got just enough room for a full straddle split, but I don't push it far, just a half. My hamstrings hum an objection, which means it's all the more important I do this to avoid injuries. Even a small one could put me out of work. What are you doing? I glance to the right as I stretch further. Luke's face is aghast. I keep my voice low to match his. I'm stretching my legs. Here? With the scandalized tone of his voice, you'd think I stripped and bent over. Sure, why not? He slides his glasses off his face and buffs them on his shirt. I've never seen anyone do a split in the middle of an airport. This isn't a full split, nor am I in the middle of anywhere. We're on the side of a room where barely anyone is awake. It's not like I dropped down while in line for security. I lean against my elbows as my muscles sing. Does this bother you? No. Then why do you sound bent out of shape? I'm not. He returns to his computer, pecking. Great. I shift even further until my legs are almost a perfect 180, which I had no intention of doing until he questioned me. There's something about this guy's tone, that there are right and wrong ways to do things and that his ways are right, that makes me want to poke him until he snaps. It's part of my job to be flexible. I'm working too, just like you are with your typing. The typing ceases. Your job? Choreographer, dancer, professional stretcher, as it were. He swivels his head roughly 10 degrees, runs his gaze up my body, and returns to working. He could weaponize that sharp jawline. Fascinating, he says. Heat creeps up my neck. Astounded by my talent? Moved to tears. I'll get out of your way soon enough, I say. He lets out a strained sigh and scrubs his hand over his mouth. His hoarse voice suggests a lack of sleep. I didn't say you had to move. Forgive me for asking a simple question. Speaking of simple questions, I cross my legs and hold up his sweatshirt. Any idea where this came from? He freezes for a good 4 seconds. The volume at which his silence yells rails against my eardrums. I purse my lips and lift it to my nose. The scent is vibrant and refreshing, evocative of California with a hint of citrus, like cold lemonade sipped on a beach. I'd know it anywhere thanks to a summer in high school working at JCPenney and huffing enough cologne to jumpstart puberty. Ralph Lauren. Smells good. While he continues to ignore me, I lean sideways into his bubble and sniff the air around him. His gaze remains firmly on his computer. Did you just smell me, Cassidy? Absolutely not. The delicious scent lingers in my nose as I breathe deeply. Gosh, it's just the strangest thing. I woke up and it was on me. I guess I'll have to ask every single person in this terminal individually so I can you were freezing. His brow furrows. Your arms were going to fall off. I grin, pleased that he admitted it. So it is your sweater. He shrugs a shoulder. It's not a big deal. I scoot a little closer. At this angle, I get a peek of color-coded spreadsheets filled with numbers on his monitor. Gag me with a calculator. That was very nice of you, Luke. The words leave my mouth and heat trickles across my cheeks. It was nice. Unexpectedly so. Okay, can I do something in return? I scan the darkened airport. I don't know, buy you a snack from the vending machine or something? Hey, you a Doritos guy? Wait, blue bag or red? This is a crucial distinction. Not necessary. Okay, so no Doritos. Soda? Chocolate? He pushes his glasses a fraction of an inch up his nose. You are in danger of frostbite, and I'm not even sure this town has a hospital. Consider it a public service. You know, that's actually the perfect comparison, I say. I put out a huge basket of Snickers and Cheez-Its for overworked delivery drivers every December to thank them for their service. I wish you'd tell me what zero nutrient crap you like so I could thank you. He eyes me warily. Not a big fan of snacks. Can we drop this, please? Who isn't a fan of snacks? His laugh is incredulous. Have you ever had a conversation that doesn't end in frustration? Actually, my conversations usually reach a satisfying conclusion. My lips arrange themselves in a smile. Except with you, apparently. He presses his eyes shut. And to think, I could have been sleeping this whole time and missed out on all this fun. I swivel toward him and push up on my knees. He tenses and rears back, hitting his head on the wall. I'm not going to smother you with it, Luke. I reach for the suitcase standing upright near his feet, loop the sleeves through the handle, and tie it in a knot. There. Tiny soldier has returned home. I catch his eye and my stomach twists. My neck heats as he steadies me. You're something else, he says quietly. I've been on the receiving end of that tilted head appraising look before, like I've just rattled off a complex riddle and forced him to solve it against his will. You know, it's fine being something else until somebody goes out of their way to point it out. It then becomes a judgment, a branding. I drop back into my seat and angle my body away. We coexist in silence long enough that an inkling of color threatens the cloudy horizon. It is the LaCroix flavor of sunrise, an almost imperceptible taste. In the interest of letting my battery fully charge, I forego the Sims and dig a notebook out of my purse. I'm halfway done filling the page with pointless doodles when my and Luke's phones light up in unison on the ground between us. Atlas Airlines, JLN to LAX, canceled. Stand by for updates. No! I topple back onto my stretch of carpet and snatch the phone off the ground. No, 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 this can't be happening. How can they just cancel? Oh my God, how long are they going to leave us here? That's the airlines for you. His voice has precisely 1 degree of heat. No urgency. This is a nightmare. I can't just wait around here forever. Exactly why I'm not counting on a plane. He nods towards a hallway. The car rental place opens at 9 if you're looking for an alternate way out. The desk is near baggage claim. A few people have stirred in the terminal, all glaring daggers at their phone. Our eyes lock. In unison, we scramble to gather our stuff. If this entire terminal is trying to escape, I need to be first in line.
Here, let me get everybody unmuted. There we go. I know it always uncomfortable silence while we all come back. Thank you. That was really fun.
Super cute.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was Deanna over here that said she loves their banter. They're going to have so much fun together. So that's one of my favorite parts about rom-coms is just the banter, the back and forth, and just really getting those personalities at each other. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was raised on Gilmore Girls, and it's just entirely banter. So I think it bleeds into everything that I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of fun. And that line about the sweatshirt, like the baby blanket of what did you call it? The baby blanket of sweatshirts or something like that. Just like, oh my gosh, my kids they each have like a hoodie like that is pretty much like disintegrating. But
yeah,
that's the one.
That's the one.
That is the one. So yeah. So I see we did have a question just pop up, Dawn.
Yeah, we did.
So from Deanna, if you want to toss that one out there.
Yep. So Deanna says, where are they trying to go to and how long will it take?
Yes, great question. They are both coming from North Carolina and they're trying to get to Los Angeles. She's trying to get to her sister's wedding and he's trying to get home to solve a family mystery type thing. And they're each trying to get there as quickly as possible. Hers more urgently because her sister's wedding is in 3 days. So they go through Colorado, they go through the middle of the country. Cause when you look at those cross country routes, there's really like bottom, middle, top, right? So they're going through the middle or however they can get there.
So this is a little bit kind of spin off of that, but did you have to research like air, like what do you call it? Like plane trajectories?
Routes.
Yes, it
routes,
was
routes, trajectories, routes,
plane routes, Dylann.
all the things. Yeah, it was actually harder than I anticipated because there were 3 different forms of transportation. Making sure that how long they were in the air before they went down, not down in dramatic fashion, but just made a landing. How long it would take to get to where they end up catching a train because they start in a car and then for reasons have to get a train. How long that train would run and when it would leave. And so all of this coordination was actually really tough. And luckily my editor is somebody who is extremely detail conscious to the point where I was like, I don't think anybody's going to check the Amtrak website. And if they do, they're going to be frustrated because it's a terrible website. And she's like, there is always going to be somebody and you want to write for the person who's going to check the website. So
for sure. Yeah.
So it was an adventure. I see why road trips are usually just in cars because that's easier to control.
So, who are you published with then?
I'm with Entangled. Yes.
Okay.
So this is their adult line, Amara.
Nice. Awesome. And what about you, Sariah? Who are you published with?
I'm with Montlake, which is Amazon Publishing's romance house.
Nice. Awesome. Yay. I have a couple questions.
Of course you do.
And I do. Yeah. And it's actually for both of you. So I noticed that, Livy, you write in first person. Do you always write in first person or is it book specific? And do you also, and these are the 2 questions combined. I was trying to debate whether to do them separately. Do you also read first person versus third?
When I wrote what became my debut book, it was one of the first times I had ever written in first person, but it was also one of the first books I ever wrote. So it was one of those things where it came naturally to me and I enjoyed it. And it was only a single point of view book when it was picked up. And then I added the hero's perspective also in first person. And so I think going through that process of writing a story all through the heroine's eyes and then writing it through his afterwards, I really saw like what first person, I kind of found myself in first person and then it just became natural. So for right now, I only write in first person dual. I would definitely be open to trying third because I do think there are a lot of things you can experiment with that, first person you might not be able to do. But what I can't do in first, I can at least get away with how, in her point of view, she sees things in him he doesn't see in himself and vice versa, which is kind of the way as I see it. So I just feel like it's a natural thing that I enjoy, but I love reading in third person. One of my critique partners writes in third. So I really feel like I still get immersed in it. And I do like historicals, they're mostly third. And so I do like to read in it as well.
I am so afraid of first person. I don't know why, but I've started a couple books in first and then I'm like, no, I need to change this. I need to change it back to third. I'm like, I think I need to experiment more into that. I think when you're what about you, Sariah? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say you should try it.
Yeah.
I actually
what about you, Sariah?
I started off writing third person historicals for a small regional publisher many years ago. And then I did a book in first person, a YA that was like a rom-com. And one of my friends who's been in the industry for a long time read it. And she goes, Sariah, this is your voice. Like, what have you been doing? Like, you've been wasting your time. And I was like, you're right. First person is so much easier to write in. And it just feels more natural and authentic to me. I feel like I really get to get in the character's head. I have done dual first person point of view. I did it in a series about a college football team. And I write sweet. And it is very hard to write from the hero's perspective in sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Discovered that the hard way. So I haven't really done that since, but I wrote a time travel where the heroine from the future, or even from now, her perspective is all in first person. The hero's is in third because it's historical. And so it kind of made this, it was really fun to write. But I think, and I'm writing, like I said, I'm writing this vanity fantasy right now, and I'm doing it in first person. I don't think that's even what's accepted, but
Okay.
just it's so much easier for me that it just feels very natural.
I feel like
Well,
I
and
should challenge myself then to do like at least a first person short story to see what I can do with it. So that's my new challenge. Okay, Dylan, go ahead. Sorry,
I was
interrupted
just
you.
going to say, I think it depends on the book.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I write in both. So, you know, my trad contracts have typically been third person past. And then, like my indie books have typically been first person past. I think where it gets tricky for me is if like I haven't written first person present. And I think for me, I think it would be tricky if I tried to flip from like first person present to third person past. Because then you're getting like all your tenses mixed up and everything too. But yeah, I mean, I think some characters just seem to call more for like you said, Livy, you know, it's so much easier to share like what they're feeling and thinking and everything when you are in first person, but then also in third person, sometimes, you know, there are benefits, pros and cons to each, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
And thinking about Sariah writing sweet romance, that's such a good point. I can't even imagine trying to write a hero for a sweet in his head. You know, that would be a challenge. So it's a good point.
Was.
You did it, but it was tough.
so what about plotting? Because that's always another question that we get. People want to know, like, are you, well, more of the author viewers, the writer viewers than our reader viewers. They want to know, you know, do you plot your books ahead of time? Do you pants them? Like, what do you typically do when it comes to plotting?
I'll tell you, I'm a pantser, and I thought I was a plotter because I would think of something and I would go, oh yeah, I want to write that. I'm not. I have met people who have like charts and like tabs, and it freaks me out. I can't do it. It's a terrible way to write. I think I hate pantsing, but I can't do it the other way. But I kind of only know about one chapter ahead of what's going to happen. I mean, I know the end. We're in romance, right? I know the ending, but I'm only ever like one scene ahead. And I'm always like, I really hope I come up with what comes next. But I write my books in about a month. I write about 3,000 words a day and I get the book done. And it's because I did it once and my brain goes, oh, we can do this. So now I can't even start before, like when that deadline's coming, I'm like, I got a month, I got to start now. So it's awful. I spend like all my waking hours writing, but it gets done. So.
So how many words? You said 3,000 a day. What is your max? We've had, I mean, we'll see if you can beat our
not a contest, Dawn.
Not a contest, but I'm impressed.
I don't think I'm careful of that because when you are in traditional publishing, you have to consider a book size. I think the most I've done is 107. A couple of books. No, sorry. I thought you meant like for the whole book.
No.
107,000 words in a day. Like, what have you guys been doing?
I was going to say, oh my God. Like, yeah, you beat us.
You win.
The most that I've done in a day, and this is with me going to a hotel, you know, away from everything, turning everything off, shutting myself up so nobody can find me. The most I've done in one day is 15,000 words. So
a lot of
words. What about
words.
you, Livy?
Yeah.
Well, you know, the most I've done in a day is 8,000, and it was pushing it, but I also write within about a month. Like once I start a book, it's kind of an obsessive thing, and it's always, you know, the timing of the deadlines and stuff, but it's like this sort of manic urge to finish. So it's just going to be every day, it consumes my every waking thought. Even if I have to work that day, you know, I'm still kind of writing throughout. And so, yeah, 8,000 is the most I've done. But, you know, I'm in no way like a type A organized person, but I am now a very meticulous plotter just because it's easier to kind of, maybe because I'm newer. I mean, this was only my second published book. And so I've written 4 now and have 2 out. And I think I'm still really kind of getting the hang of replicating it and trying to be consistent, because what I've learned from Romancelandia is how important it is to, at first, at least be consistent in your own voice and in your own brand so that you can sort of gather those loyal readers so that people know what to expect from you. And
Right.
so if I was pantsing like I used to when I was writing on like Wattpad for fun, I would have done something different every time just for fun. But now I'm like, okay, let's try to like figure out get a handle on what I'm doing before I start getting experimental. So I'm very, very much like, okay, I know that at 40%, we're going to be here doing this and this. Like it does sometimes take the fun out of it, but it helps me write faster because I'm not sitting there like, okay, what am I going to do next? Like I do all that heavy lifting up front when I have like a 13-page outline.
Oh. Yeah, so it's so interesting, like hearing everybody's process. I mean, Catherine Nolan, she's the one that she writes a whole first draft, and then she'll scrap it and write the second draft, the final.
My gosh,
draft.
I would
And I'm
die.
just like,
I would die.
but she does it so fast. I'm just like, oh my gosh.
I know. I
Like,
hate to
how
waste
does she-
words.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm a pantser too, but then I find myself going in, directions where I end up with a dead end, and I get so frustrated because I hate to waste words. So then I tried to plot. I tried to be a plotter, and it doesn't. I'm with you, Sariah. Like it's painful.
Yeah.
So then I spend a lot of time thinking, and then I think I have a plot, but what I've really done is just figured out like a lot of backstory. And then when I go to sit down to write, it's like I still don't have a plot. I just have a lot of information in my head.
Yep.
Well, that's good. You really know your characters.
Yes, but I still don't know what they're actually going to do on the page. So
Overrated. Plots are overrated,
yes.
I kind of get my plot, and then I'll get to where I'm supposed to be on a plot point, and I'll be like, oh crap, that's never going to happen. Like the way this went, it just went off the rails. So I'm kind of in the middle. We call her planters, right? That's what we call ourselves. Is there a new word for it? I thought there was a new word for it. Planters besides planters.
Oh, I don't know.
I can't remember, but
Any combination of the two. If you're
Yeah.
feeling more like a plotter, then you could be like a plotzer, or if you're feeling more like a pantser, you could be more like a pantster. I don't know.
plantster.
I don't know. You get creative.
Yeah. So let's see. Do you think we should go on to Sariah here and then do the rest of the questions?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Okay.
All right, Sariah, you're up. Same question for you. Are we starting at page 1, or do you have a setup for us?
Yeah, this is like in the center of the book. So I'm going to have to set it up for you a little bit. The story is this small town in Ohio put out a viral video inviting a big movie star to come out. They're putting on a town festival. My heroine has had to take over the festival. There's been a problem with the local government. She's now like the librarian. She's the mayor. She's kind of running everything. And this movie star agrees, and he comes, and he has to stay at her B&B, which is where she lives. And so we've got forced proximity. And he makes it pretty clear he's interested. And she's not at all. She's had a really bad heartbreak. She doesn't want to. And then she's convinced herself, of course, this man can't like me. He's like a movie star. And then he talks to her about the Music Man, about the song Mary and the Librarian, because she's a librarian. And so she says, I've never seen it. So they decide to watch it together. So my hero is very healthy. He likes in this scene, he's bought seaweed snacks and she's having popcorn. And so that is where the scene begins.
Love it.
All right. We will be back when you're done.
Okay. All right. It says he held up his snacks. You should try one of these. Much healthier for you. No thanks. Come on. What if you try it and it becomes your favorite thing to eat in the whole world? Doubtful, I told him. You won't know unless you try it. It's salty and crunchy like popcorn. Again, if he had been anyone else, I would have outright refused. I wasn't interested in trying sea trash. He held out what looked like a sheet of thin green paper. Okay, I said, letting him know that I still thought it was a bad idea. It's nori flavored. That didn't mean anything to me, but I decided to try to get through this experience as quickly as possible. As could have been predicted, it tasted like strangely flavored chewy paper and was not in any way, shape, or form better than popcorn. I swallowed and couldn't breathe. It was stuck, lodged in my throat. I attempted to speak and nothing came out. Panic rose in my chest as I gestured towards my throat. I tried to breathe and panic some more as I realized that I couldn't drag any air into my lungs. Nick immediately understood the situation and got behind me, wrapping his arms around me and doing the Heimlich. He clasped his hands together, pushing it in up under my ribs. It hurt, but on his second pull against my diaphragm, the seaweed came loose and I coughed it out. I dragged air into my lungs, and nothing had ever been sweeter. I collapsed against him, relief drugging my limbs. He kept me upright, holding me close. Your snack just tried to kill me, I told him when I could finally speak. I wanted so much to stay exactly where I was. It felt right. My brain, recently deprived of oxygen, I might add, asked me, who almost dies and all they can think about is how much they like being pressed against Nick's firm body, his strong arms wrapped around them. Turned out it was me. That's who. There was something definitely wrong with me. Things only got worse when he said, are you all right? Are you breathing okay? He said these words right next to my ear, which sent serious shivers up and down my spinal column, making sure to hit every nerve ending they came across. I'm okay, but I want you to know that's never once happened with a chocolate chip cookie. He ignored my joke. What if I hadn't been here? There was a tinge of desperation in his voice that made me think maybe I should be asking if he was okay. I would have been fine because I wouldn't have voluntarily eaten your disgusting seaweed squares. He smiled against the side of my head, and it made the tingles intensify. Warmth spread throughout my entire body like he was infusing it into me. Thank you for saving me, I said. He didn't answer, but his arms did tighten around me. We stayed that way with me cradled against him for a few more moments before I realized how weird and pathetic this was getting, and I tugged myself away from him, walking out of his embrace. My entire body wanted to stay to protest against my decision, but I managed to sit down on the couch, still feeling out of breath. I tried to ignore how much I wanted to go back over to him and keep being held. I tucked my hands under my legs. It was the only way I could make sure I wouldn't try to touch him. Should we watch the movie? He hesitated, and I wouldn't look up at him. I was scared too, not knowing what I'd see there. Concern? Pity? I couldn't take his pity. After another few beats, he sat on the couch next to me, reaching out to mess with his laptop to get the movie to come up. It started, and I leaned back against the couch, keeping my eyes on the screen. It did strike me as funny that his publicist had been so worried about him having wild and crazy nights, and instead we were watching a musical. I did my best to pay attention to the movie, and I loved the score and the songs, but Nick was too distracting. Patches apparently agreed with me as she had curled up on his lap, purring. Her affection was typically very limited, but not with Nick. It was like he'd been built out of catnip, and my little attention strumpet couldn't get enough of him. Sitting there with him was like being back in high school, watching a movie with a guy and knowing his parents were in the next room. But other than Patches, there wasn't any chaperones here. Just us hanging out, me wanting to touch him, but knowing that he didn't feel the same. I couldn't just throw myself at him. I mean, I could, and Gretchen would be overcome with joy, but I couldn't risk the festival. I had to keep that in mind, but he was making it very, very hard. He kept looking at me during the Mary and the Librarian song, but I stayed facing forward. The lyrics didn't mean anything. It was just in reference to the joke he'd made when we first met about me being a librarian, nothing more. The movie ended, and Nick leaned forward to pause it. Normally, I would have liked listening to the music and the credits, but that didn't seem like a good plan tonight. I needed to put myself in my room until I could figure out a way to behave. Thanks for the movie. Good night. I started to stand up, but he reached out and put his hand on my knee, and then both my legs stopped working, so I stayed put. Jane, wait. There's something I want to ask you. Calm down, I told my percolating hormones. It was probably something innocuous, like where I kept the extra toilet paper. No need to get all worked up over what was most likely going to be nothing. What does it take to get you to respond? Respond to what? I asked, feeling thoroughly confused. To me. Now my hormones were boiling over, doing a frenzied dance, glorying in their rightness. Not about toilet paper. What do you mean? I desperately needed clarification because I didn't want to jump to some really bonehead conclusion. His hand was still on my knee, the other on the couch behind me. I've done nothing but tell you since I got here that I'm attracted to you and interested in you, and you haven't really given me a response one way or the other. I stuttered, not able to wrap my still hazy brain around what was happening. My pulse raced so quickly that I was seriously in danger of nearly dying for a second time that night. Was Nick Haddon really sitting on my living room couch telling me that he wanted to be with me? You never said that, I said, squeaking the words out, because I would have remembered if he'd said those actual words. My best friend would have had them engraved on my tombstone. I knew I hadn't missed anything, or had I? What else do you want me to say? How I spent the last 2.5 hours thinking about how much I want to kiss you? Somehow my heart managed to gallop even faster. My lungs were so tight I worried I might pass out. I thought you were watching the movie. Why was I saying inane things? His hand squeezed my knee gently. I wasn't watching the movie. Oh, I didn't know how to respond to that, because none of the obstacles had been removed. Even if he wanted to make out with me, and my glands were urging me to quickly accept before he changed his mind, it didn't alter anything. The festival was still going on, and I needed him to make the visitors happy. I didn't want my heart to get broken again. There were other reasons, but I couldn't think of them at the moment. Most of my self-imposed boundaries had been based on the belief that he couldn't possibly be interested in me, and I didn't want to make a fool of myself. What was I supposed to do when he erased that line? He said, "It feels like every time I get close to you, you run away." That's accurate. At that, he took his hand away, and I wanted so much to drag it back. When I didn't finish my sentence, he said, "I'm not trying to make things awkward between us. I just wanted to be honest. You're a very attractive woman, and I enjoy your company." Same, but I didn't say it, mostly because I was too busy internally basking in the revelation that he thought I was attractive. "And I know we've been spending time together, but I want to do something, I don't know, more official," he said. "Go on a real date with me." "I don't think I can do that." It was honestly a wonder that I was able to speak at all. "Why?" He sounded genuinely curious. There are so many reasons why. To start with, I have a policy against dating men like you. Men like me, what does that mean? Popular, handsome men. If I'd expected a reaction from him over that explanation, it wouldn't have been him grinning. I just told him I wouldn't go out with a guy like him. Why are you smiling? You're attracted to me. Technically, I hadn't said that, but he was not wrong. You know how you look, and I have to focus on the festival, and I haven't even started calling sponsors because he was distracting me. Because I'm spending time with you, and this festival has to go well in order for me to save the town. It has to be a success. And if you and I start, I don't know, dating or whatever, and it goes bad, and you take off early and go back to California, that screws the festival. I won't do that. I promise to stay here through the festival no matter what. Yeah, that wouldn't be at all awkward, living in the same house after we tried to date and miserably failed. You're anticipating the worst, he said. What if things don't go bad? Okay, let's imagine it's all stars and hearts, and then what, I asked. We do the long distance thing? I've done that before and had my heart shredded into tiny pieces. I'm not interested in that happening again. He didn't have a quick response for that, and I wanted to make sure he understood where I was coming from. I need to be practical. What could possibly even happen between us? You're leaving in less than 2 weeks, and I'm staying here. It makes no sense. When I try not to think too much about the future and just live in the present, at that I sighed. Is that part of your fortune cookie philosophy? I immediately regretted saying it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I know you're working on improving yourself, and I think that's great, but I'm not a live in the now kind of person. Just because there's something here doesn't mean we should act on it. You're not wrong. I was surprised by how much I wanted to be wrong. Then he added, we can have fun and keep things light. It doesn't have to be serious. That's part of the problem. I'm not really built for that. He shrugged. I think we could find a happy medium. Let me show you. It was so tempting. So tempting. I don't want everyone talking about us, I said, trying to justify what was quickly becoming a losing battle. He shot me a half smile. At this point, I feel like you're trying to come up with an excuse. Did your cat eat your homework? Did you run out of gas on your way to the excuse store and so you didn't have time to pick up a new one? Maybe they sounded like flimsy excuses, but they were also reasons. They're already hounding me, and that's just here in town. What would happen to me if this went nationwide? Why do you care what people think? It's probably the effect of living in a small town. It felt like my life had so often been picked apart, usually out of concern, sometimes out of malice, that I didn't want to do anything to add to the gossip mill. As someone who's gossiped about on a massive scale regularly, the trick is to not listen or care. Their opinions are just that, opinions. You can ignore them. Speaking of people here in town, you're forgetting that it would probably really irritate your nemesis if you went out with me. Oh, that was true. I allowed myself to imagine it for a few glorious seconds. That wasn't a reason to do this, though. That's not playing fair. I'm not trying to play fair. His words did things to my stomach, making it feel like it was sinking and floating at the same time. The word came out breathy, and I was finding it hard to get air in my lungs to circulate. You wouldn't care if I went out with you just to make Brenda mad? I'd be fine with that. Again, I allowed myself to imagine her face upon seeing us together. She'd accused me of having a crush, which had turned out to be true, but she didn't think he'd like me back. She would absolutely die. But I shouldn't be making major decisions just to piss Brenda off, because that's what this was, a big moment. It might seem like a small thing to just go on some dates with the famous actor and then go back to my regular life, but I knew that whatever answer I gave him was about to change everything. He was still pleading his case. Technically, we already got a date planned. Gretchen set it up. It took me a second. The anniversary party. That's not a date. She invited you to go, and I'm going to drive you because I'll be going to the same place at the same time. Okay, then let's go out and do something the day after tomorrow. Just you and me. Nick, I let my voice trail off because I didn't know what to say. I wanted so desperately to accept, but there was something inside me that wouldn't let me get the words out, that made me resist giving in. He waited a bit for me to finish, and when I didn't, he used that self-deprecating tone that made him even more adorable. I have to admit that I've never tried to convince a woman to go out on a date with me before. I didn't doubt it. I was so close to caving. I'd been trying hard to fight my attraction to him, and he just blown up all of my defenses by waving the white flag of surrender and offering me exactly what I wanted. You should think about it and then get back to me. You know where to find me, he said. I nodded and got up. There was no way I could stay here in this room with him because I would melt faster than an ice cream cone in an Arizona summer. I'm going to bed. Commanding my feet to move, I made it all the way to the stairs before I realized that he'd followed me. He reached out gently, wrapping his long fingers around my wrist, tugging on me to turn around. I turned to face him, afraid of what he might ask me, afraid because my resistance was so worn down that there was no way I'd refuse him anything. Just tell me this, he said. Do I even have a glimmer of hope here? I should have said no, protected the things that needed to be protected, but his fingers were on my skin, and it was messing with my ability to think. So instead I said, there's a glimmer. That's all I need. We can take it slow. I know you're worried about things changing, but they don't have to if you don't want them to. Nick released my arm and walked off toward his bedroom. He couldn't promise me things wouldn't change, because they already had.
Woohoo.
Love it. Oh my gosh.
I need to know, how famous is this guy? Is he, like
Yellowstone famous?
Like Brad Pitt. I mean, that's not a current one, but Leo, Brad Pitt, huge star who stars. Famous.
Okay.
So she has a hard time believing that he would like her.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna we don't have we have a couple questions, but I also have a couple comments I just want to post up here. So Deanna says, "This is seriously the funnest place for you to start reading. Choking by a seaweed snack."
Well,
I
and
am
I want to
anti
know,
seaweed snacks.
are you a fan of the seaweed
Are
snacks?
you?
I am not. They're terrible. My daughter loves them, and I think they're so gross.
My daughter does too, and she started loving them when she thought she was a mermaid. And but now, she's a teenager, she still loves them, and I'm just like,
Mhm.
and my boys are like, they smell horrible.
Mhm.
I'm like, truth.
Yeah.
He tells the truth. That's cute though. Cute, meet cute there. But
Mhm.
or like, I guess it's not a meet cute, but it's like a cute scene.
That was a
I
cute scene.
agree.
Yeah. And Deanna also said their banter is so cute too. Dang, I'm gonna say dang because
Mhm.
Dylan likes me to not cuss, even though I do. Dang, 2 books I need to add to my ever-growing pile of books to read. Deanna, the only thing I have to say is read faster.
Right.
Yes.
I'm just kidding, Deanna. We love you. She's our resident Australian, so
That's right.
she's joining us from the other side of the world, and that's
And
amazing.
she's coming
for
to us from the future. That's
yeah,
right.
from the future. Yeah. And then let me see. We do
I was
have
going to say, I
another
saw a
one.
question up there. We don't
Yes.
have 2 of our biggest question
Questionnaires.
askers are not here
No.
tonight, which
No.
and you would know it if they were, because we would have probably 50 questions in there. So
Yeah.
the questions are slow tonight, but I know we've got more. So
Yeah. Carmen, I hope I said that right. Says, what do you have coming up?
So you want me to answer, Livy to
Mhm.
answer? Okay, just
Both of
I
you.
didn't know
Sorry.
if-
Yeah, both
I
of
didn't know
you.
what's for. I actually have my schedule's not usually like this, but I have been inundated lately. So I have a holiday novella coming out in November. I have a book called Hypnotized by Love, which I'm very excited about. A woman who is a professional hypnotist has a nemesis from high school, enemies to lovers, who is out to prove that she's a fraud, and she hypnotizes them and turns him into kind of a different person. And she has to try to fix him. And their session gets interrupted because he's off being, saying yes to
Chicken?
life now.
Okay.
And he always kind of says no to things, and now he's saying yes to everything. So that one comes out in
Oh, fun.
February. And then I have a short story that comes out the same month. So I don't normally have that much, but I've got a lot of things coming up really soon.
So what kind of research did you do for the hypnotist book?
I
Did
got
you
on
get hypnotized?
I didn't get hypnotized, but I
Okay.
did contact someone local, and she talked to me for like 2 hours. I've been doing that a lot lately. If I have kind of weird profession, I wrote a lot of weird professions in my books, but I will get on. It's funny because people will talk to you when you're a writer. You're like,
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
is really odd. I'm a writer, and like my book I just wrote was about an event planner I just turned in. And again, I got this event planner who's like, I charge, I'm going to say like $100 an hour or something. And I'm like, well, I'll pay your fee. I just want to talk to someone. And she didn't charge me. She's like, this is so much fun. So yeah, it's just, I talked to a hypnotist for about 2 hours, and she just explained everything to me. And it was fascinating. Like I think you kind of have a perception of what hypnosis is from like movies and TV shows. And it's not like that. And it's really interesting. And it has a really high success rate, which I didn't know for specific things. So yeah,
So
it was very cool.
after doing research on this topic, do you think that we could hire your hypnotist to get us all in a room together and hypnotize us to write our books faster?
She told me yes, because I specifically asked that. I'm like, can you help with like writer's block? Can you make, creativity flow better? And she's like, oh yeah, we can, because she explained it. It's like you have this subconscious mind. She's like, and you go into hypnotic states all day without realizing. She goes, have you ever zoned out when you're driving and then suddenly you're somewhere, you're like, how did I get here? That's hypnosis. That's subconscious. You are already putting yourself reading a book where you are caught up, or writing a book. I think when you're completely caught up, you're in a hypnotic state and you don't even know it. So you're more suggestible, and it's easier to get through kind of your subconscious brain when you're in that state. And so that's all you're doing. You're not passing out or falling asleep. You're awake, you're aware. It's just kind of in this certain frame of mind, and it kind of opens up your brain to, like I said, being more suggestible and taking in information. So
Okay. So I'm gonna have to go hire a hypnotist then because I need to
Right.
get this book written.
Yes, it
For real.
helps.
Yeah, but I can't remember. I had a question pop in my brain, but now I can't remember. What about you, Livy?
Yes, so I have a book coming out later this year about a teacher girl who accidentally finds herself on multiple bad dates with her dad's new hotshot boss. So
Oh,
not the boss trope, it's the my dad's boss trope, but
oh gosh.
so he's
So it's
actually
an age gap.
I was just gonna say, but the boss is actually young, so he's like a wonderkin type. Comes in and starts ruining the dad's life at work, and then
Good.
at the same time, she keeps finding herself on dates with him. Like, how does this keep happening? Because their best friends are in fact dating. So that one's enemies to lovers with a lot of family tension there too when he finds out. And then next year, I have a book in the early part of the year, which is two characters from Planes, Trains, and All the Feels. The two main characters' best friends who are mentioned in the book, they're getting their own book, and that's coming out early next year. And then I'll have one more in the summer. So it's just kind of rom-coms back to back. I've been busy with the rom-coms lately. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for next summer's book because it's got my favorite element, which is giant Italian families who hate each other. So I love not just one Italian family, but two, and they want to snuff each other out. So it's great. So yeah.
Awesome. All right, to digress just a little bit, I do have to give Deanna some props here again, real quick. She just said she already does read faster. She reads a book a day, and she's in your future. She's one of your future readers. So yeah,
That's
and
right.
it's she's in our future. So yeah, it's Friday morning there. Okay,
Yes.
that's what she meant.
I'm following
And then
along.
Facebook user, yeah, she's following. So Facebook user, we always love you guys. We just can't see your name. So if I don't see your name, I'm so sorry. I don't know who you are, but we love you. And are these a series? Series or standalone?
Everything I do is pretty much
Sariah,
standalone, but their
go ahead.
characters sometimes overlap.
Mine are all standalone, but I will sometimes put characters, especially because I'm writing about like movie stars or royalty or whatever. I'll put like, oh, I watched this show with this person on it, kind of like little Easter eggs. I have a universe, but it's not a series.
Yeah, exactly. The universe, the cinematic bookiverse.
Yes.
Nice.
Very fun.
And then this is kind of a twofer. So keep your eyes peeled. I'm going to pop the questions around here. What is a trope you would love to write about but haven't tried yet? Or a trope I should have added?
I'm not sure what she means by that.
I know. But what kind of trope should she have added to her list, I guess? So trope that you love. I don't know.
Okay.
I would love to write a marriage of convenience or any sort of like marriage trope. I haven't tried that yet, or I haven't done friends to lovers, and I really want to find a way to do that in a fun, put a fun spin on it. So those are two I would love to try. Oh, genre, she said. Oh gosh.
Genre.
I'm jealous that Sariah is writing a NA fantasy. That would definitely be something I would like to try someday.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. But my answer is the same as marriage of convenience, because for me, from a sweet standpoint, that would be very interesting to play with, I think, to have this couple that's married.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, didn't you say you wrote historical to begin with?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And so I never wrote that. No, I never wrote one.
What regions or what age, what era?
Time period?
It was like Regency.
Time period
and
era.
I love Regency. So yeah, but I want to get back into it. And that's why I wrote that time travel, was so I could kind of like bridge a gap and I could have historicals and rom-coms. And I just have never, you all know, how busy it gets and demanding, and you kind of have to focus on what you're actually being paid to write rather than everything you would love to write. So
yeah, true. Yeah. Okay. Deanna said marriage of convenience is her favorite, and she's sorry. She's listening to us, but she's also trying to get ready to go out. Oh, where are you going, Deanna? On a date? Oh my
on a
gosh.
Friday morning.
I was gonna say,
on a Friday morning? On a Friday morning. A breakfast date?
Work maybe?
Work probably. But you know what? We're romance authors, so we'll say it's a breakfast date at her office with her computer.
I love Marriage of Convenience as well.
Yeah.
Or like fake marriage. That's a favorite of mine too. When they have to, fake the
Yeah.
engagement, fake engagement or relationship is also one of my favorites. So I think we have time for one more. It looks like we have one
Yep.
more question.
And we
pop
do.
up.
Yep.
Do one more, and then I think it's time to wrap up.
Me, Dylan? No, yep, that's me.
Is
Okay.
Dawn was cutting out for
yeah.
you guys too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I cutting out still?
No, you're
No.
good now.
Okay,
back.
good. Okay, yeah. I was all reading it and then everybody was like, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's me. That's me totally. Yeah.
All right, let's try one more time.
What is your favorite book you read? And I'm assuming that means and your favorite book that you wrote.
Okay, I have mine right here. So the favorite book recently is called You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel. It is funny. It is witty. She is the humor queen about someone who's trying to sabotage her own engagement. And so it's almost like a marriage in trouble trope because they end up saving their engagement. That's the whole thing, is going from ruining it to rebuilding it. And it's really beautiful the way it all comes together. And the favorite that I've written, I would say my first book, Talk Flirty to Me with the Firefighter, has a special place in my heart because you never forget your first, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's my second chance / Brother's Best Friend baby. And those are my two favorite, like especially Brother's Best Friend. So yeah.
I can't pick a favorite book. Like, I think I could pick a favorite kid before I could pick a favorite book. Like,
Oh,
it's
wow.
just, I love so many books. And I've just been a reader my whole life. So that would be very hard for me. The favorite book
What
that
about
I've
a
written,
recent read you would recommend?
I just read Lady Tan's Circle of Women by Lisa C. That was amazing. It's about a 15th century physician in China. She's a real person. It was a really, really awesome read. I enjoyed that a lot. But of mine that I've written, that time travel one, it's called Once Upon a Time Travel, because I wanted to write it for like 10 years. And so when I did, it was flowing out of me. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have one called The Seat Filler. And I wrote that after I met Adam Driver and made a fool of myself. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is a book. Like, I went home that night and called my agent, who was in New York 3 hours ahead of me because I was in California at the SAG Awards. And I called her and I'm like, I met Adam Driver and I made an idiot of myself and I have to make a book now. And she's like, done. So I have a special place in my heart for that one because that was fun. So, and I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. So I had to put Star Wars stuff in there.
And that cover is great too. I'm a little bit of a fangirl.
I love the cover.
I love the cover. I love the book. I love Adam Driver.
Me too.
And now he knows it as well.
People say that, and I'm like, he's not going to know or care. I mean, he's got to walk into a Barnes and Noble at some point and seen The Love Hypothesis, which was written about, Kylo Ren and Rey, and it's Adam Driver on the cover. And someone goes, someday Adam Driver's going to go to a bookstore and just see all these covers that are him and go, what is happening? So, yeah.
Well, I got to say, like, okay, so I one of the books I wrote, I listened to Lee Bryce's song on repeat, and then I met him, so I gave him my book. I mean, you just need to carry your book around in your bag,
just in case
you happen to meet him, and then you'd be like, "This was written about you. Sorry, bye." Just toss it at him, and then run away and see what happens.
I will do that.
You don't have to run away. You could try to kiss him. I don't care. Either way, give him the book.
His wife would mind, and my husband would probably be upset. But other than that, we're good.
Minor details.
Minor details. You could live with that. All right. So
it looks like Deanna has solved the mystery. She's meeting up with her husband for a lunch date.
I was gonna say I was gonna do that props too. Yeah, I was gonna be like, Deanna. Yep, she's actually on a romantic day, but it's like lunch. Let's get some what do they call? What is that? What is that phrase? Gosh dang it, Dylan.
I don't know. I'm tongue-tied tonight, and you have lost words. So we're a great match tonight. It's
Man, there's songs written about it. Oh my god.
I don't know, Dawn.
I know
it?
Afternoon Delight.
Yes.
Ah,
Afternoon
there you go.
delight. Yeah,
oh,
there we
that
go.
is so
That's
not what I
Deanna.
was thinking you were
Yep,
trying to do.
afternoon delight.
Oh,
From the sweet romance author. That's the one who got it. I just want
Good
you to remember
job.
that.
That's it, Deanna. That's all you.
You might be
You
in
go,
the wrong
girl.
genre, Sariah. I'm just saying. You might be. We'll have to see. All right. Well, that is it for this week. But before we go, we want to remind you that we have a giveaway that is up on the Romance Happy Hour Facebook page, and Livy is giving away a e-copy of Planes, Trains, and All the Feels. And Sariah, you have a signed paperback of, I wasn't sure which book, so I'm not
Hollywood
sure if
Jinx.
it was your choice or winner's
I'll do
choice.
that one.
All right. So the most recent book, your most recent release. So we've got those two are up and will be live through Sunday night. So head on over there and take a peek at that. And before we go, any last parting words? Do you have any book signings coming up, or is there a certain place where people can find you that you prefer people find you or connect with you?
I have a signing coming up on Romance Bookstore Day, the 17th of August in Fort Worth at Monkey and Dog.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I'll have lots of signed goodies and stuff. And if you ever want anything or need anything, I'm Livy Hart Romance everywhere, TikTok, Instagram. I'm most active on Instagram, so Livy Hart Romance.
All right. How about you, Sariah?
Yeah, come find me on Facebook. I've got a Facebook group that I'm posting in pretty much every day. So if you go to facebook.com/Sariah Wilson author, there you can find a link to join it's a very secret private group. They get all the info early. But yeah, Sariah Wilson pretty much everywhere. Not all people named Sariah, so I got a good luck on that name. So
I think you're the first one I know.
For sure.
All right. Well, it has been a lot of fun talking to you both tonight. Thanks for sharing your work with us. We really appreciate it and enjoyed it. And we will be back in 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks, or I always get mixed up when it's the beginning of the month? We'll be back the second Thursday in August for another episode. So we'll see you then.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.